Opening and repairing the gearbox on a 1450 or 10K puller can be a complex process, but with enough prep and organization, it can be done efficiently. To start, ensure that you are always using proper PPE while working on the equipment. To start, remove the cable clamp with a screwdriver. Remember to also remove the brush caps and brushes from the top and bottom of the end bell. Be sure to also use your screwdriver to loosen the strain relief enough so that the cable is freed. Next, remove the two 7/16" nuts so that the end bell can be detached. Be sure to remove the nylon spacers and field housing assembly from the threaded rods to reveal the armature. Disconnect the field from the machine. After, you must also disconnect the field from the end bell. Use a Phillips screwdriver to remove the ground screws from the end bell. Once the ground screws are removed, slide the connectors out of the brush ports. You may use a flathead screwdriver to help slide them out. Note the specific orientation of the wires for reassembly later. You should also triple check that the power supply is disconnected as a safety precaution. Once the power supply is disconnected, unwrap the foot pedal from the cord holder. On top of the 1450, find the electrical box. To detach it, remove the 4 screws in the front and the back with a 1/4 socket. Next, remove the capstan bolt using a 3/4" socket, then remove the washer and capstan keys from the output shaft. Finally, remove the capstan from the output shaft. Once the capstan has been removed, remove the screws that secure the handles to the front plate. Next, loosen the 4 bolts securing the front and back plates, but be mindful of the spacer washers in the back. To help remove the bolts, gently use a mallet to loosen them from the cover. To remove the gearbox cover, lay it flat on a level surface with the output shaft facing up. Remove these 5 bolts from the cover to make the gearbox lid come loose. Carefully pry the lid off with a screwdriver, avoiding damage to the gasket. To clean your gearbox, start by removing all the grease from the bearings using a paper towel or rag. Make sure to thoroughly clean the bearing openings in the lid as well. If you need to clean the gears, remove them from the gearbox completely and wash them with any suitable cleaner. If the bearing pockets also need to be cleaned, remove the wave washer to clean them. Place the lid back onto the gearbox, being careful not to damage the seal. To correctly reinstall the bolts, place the 3 shorter bolts without tightening them on the motor side, and the 2 longer bolts, again without tightening, on the output shaft side. Use a drill to tighten the bolts, but be sure not to over-tighten them. To correctly install the lid back on the gearbox, you must tighten the bolts with a 25 foot-pounds torque wrench in the order seen in the visual. Place the first cover over the output shaft side of the gearbox. Insert the 4 bolts so that they go through the cover and the gearbox to the other side. Once all 4 bolts have been pushed through, place the 4 spacer washers on, followed by the back cover, which should fit in line with the bolts. Tighten the lock nuts to secure the covers. Reattach the handles to the front plate using screws, making sure everything is tightened. Coat the output shaft with anti-seize. Then, reinstall the capstan, washer, and bolt, tightening securely with an impact driver. Place the electrical box back onto the 1450 or 10K puller and reinstall the screws. Reinstall the armature into the machine. Be sure to check that it is able to spin freely. Reinstall the field housing assembly by carefully aligning the 2 long threaded rods with the motor in the field. Next, place the nylon spacers back into position and reinstall the end bell. Reinstall the 2 7/16" nuts. Make sure to tighten with a ratchet wrench to secure the motor to the machine. Reattach the strain relief with a screwdriver and gently pull the cable to ensure proper alignment. Reinstall the brushes and caps on the top and bottom. Make sure the wiring does not make contact with the armature. To complete the reassembly process, reinstall the cable clamp. Finally, wrap the foot pedal around the cord holder. The gearbox has now been opened for repair in your 1450 or 10K puller.